Hi, everyone. It's Sarah. Welcome to Unmuzzled, a podcast. We spell that P-A-W-D because it's all things animals all the time. Today, I'm joined by this wonderful human that I met. I don't know. I hate to say accidentally because I don't believe really that things happen accidentally, but he has become a huge part of Live Like Rue, and he's a brilliant photographer. And I wanted to share his photography because it's just, we work with a lot of fabulous photographers for end of life sessions and bucket list sessions for Live Like Real, but his are just, I don't know. He's got this wonderful eye. So I wanted to share kind of his story because he means a lot to Live Like Real and what we do. So I wanted to have him on. Mark Luther's coming up soon. Before we get to him presenting sponsors, you're up.
Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Yucca Fence is a family-owned, trusted provider of high-quality fencing solutions with over 57 years of experience. They take pride in protecting what you love the most and give back to rescues, shelters, and humane societies through their partnerships. They give you a free, no-obligation estimate and use the highest quality materials. For transparency and peace of mind, visit Yucca Fence for all your fencing needs. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. Tons of indoor space with a huge yard. Canine Cruise is your one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital on the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Sniffing out a new vet? Bond Vet is a new breed of vet care that offers everything from primary care to walk-in urgent care visits. And right now, they've got a special treat for our listeners. You can use code UNMUZZLED to get $50 off your pet's first visit by booking at bondvet.com. That's code UNMUZZLED at BONDVET.com for $50 off.
$50 off. I mean, you can't beat that. Check out Bond Vet. If you did not listen or watch the podcast with Dr. Morton a few weeks ago, make sure you tune on into that. Just some great insight on euthanasia in animals and vet med in general. He was a terrific guest, and he works at Bond Vet. So we feel lucky to have him. He'll be on every few months or so. He decided to come on. So that'll be great. Mark, I am bringing you on.
There I am.
Hello, Mark Luther. How are you?
I'm lovely, ma'am. How are you?
Good. And no need to call me ma'am. I love that you do. But we should start with that. Like, you have a military background and you just recently left the military. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. So I spent a total of 11 years. I was in the Indiana Army National Guard, the Army Reserves, up until 2015. I was actually a police officer in Indianapolis. I left that a few years ago and just came back on active duty in 2022. Just got out. I was a medic in the Army.
Wow. I mean, just incredible. Thank you for your service. So I'm going to go back a little bit to how I met Mark. So Mark is on a website, and if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that we have interviewed Lauren Kennedy from the Tilly Project. And actually, before she started the Tilly Project, her and I met. And, kind of the reason that she started it was because she saw my requests for bucket list photographers, and something in her brain, she's a magical photographer as well, went, oh, there should be a combined list of photographers that want to do end of life photography. And sometimes, they do it at a discount. As far as Mark goes, he does it mostly for free or a small fee. I had to push him to charge us some kind of fee because he traveled 4 hours for a photo shoot that we needed. But I was doing the Live Like Rue calendar, and unfortunately, the only cat in the calendar, we ended up with some not so great photos, and I was desperate to find somebody in Texas to photograph Gwenifer, who is a cat that, again, won the contest. And here comes Mark, my savior. And I asked for the most inane request to put a cat on a beach for a photo that would be on December. So it was like an impossible task. Number one, a cat near water. Texas, I believe it was in August when we shot this, and make it look like Christmas. And he did. So Mark, thank you. First of all, thank you so much, because that was a task that nobody should have to face, but you did a magical job.
Gwynnifer made it easy for me.
Yeah, honestly. And this is, I want to show the photo because this is the magic that he came up with. And, I grew up with cats. I love cats. I'm not a cat person. Dogs are my jam, but like this, and, no offense to any other pet or photographer, this was my favorite shot in the calendar. I mean, look at that. Look at that magic. It's so good. So I just wanted to kind of level set with how we met. But for you, where did this passion for photography come from? Because you have an eye for it. We've seen it time and again in your photography. Where did this passion come from?
So it really honestly started out of boredom. Back during COVID, when I was a police officer, we didn't have a whole lot to do. They wouldn't really send us anywhere to do much with all the chaos going on. So I went and bought a used camera one day from a retired professor, and I started sitting in the woods, just taking random pictures. And
Wow.
it kind of went off from there.
Yeah, and then the Tilly project is very unique because it, offers a service that it's really at a difficult time for a pet owner, because usually, the pet is sick, or the pet is old, or the pet is declining. It takes a special kind of person to do these photo shoots, and I've been there for these photo shoots, and they are it's so hard, it makes me cry just thinking about it. But for you, number one, how did you get involved in the Tilly project? How did you even hear about it?
It was actually through a Facebook group. I was scrolling through. I always look at other photographers, trying just to get inspiration and ideas. And a pet photographer that I had seen in a group, one of the comments mentioned the Tilly project, and I thought, well, I might as well look at that. And the light bulb clicked from there for me. I was a huge pet person growing up. My family always had pets, cats and dogs and turtles and iguanas. And it just seemed like a fit for me, so I wanted to give it a try and see if it was something I could branch into.
Yeah, I talk to photographers too about being in these moments, because it's hard. A lot of times the owners are crying. You have to kind of put on this mask, because you want to get the shot, and it's almost I don't want to say easy, but because these people love their pets so much, you can usually get these moments, but it's not easy because there is a lot of emotion. Sometimes we saw in this shot, there's kids involved. So you've got not just an animal moving, but humans, small humans. How do you go about these shoots? Like, how do you go into them?
Oh, sorry, I got an ant on me. So I take a bit of a different approach than a lot of the other photographers that I've talked to at the Tilly project. I don't stage really anything at all. I kind of tell the folks leading up to the shoot. I want to sit with you. I want to meet your pet. I want to meet you, and I want to capture that normal interaction. I don't want it to feel fake. I don't want it to feel staged. I want to see and capture how you and your pet are normally. And so a lot of times in the beginning of shoots, I'll just sit for 10, 15 minutes with them and let them tell me stories about their pet, and we'll laugh, we'll cry, and usually in the process of that they'll start loving on their pet, or their pet wants to cuddle and be with their owner. And a lot of times I'll take shots and they won't even notice that I'm shooting, and I found that those are kind of the best moments to capture for me.
Yeah, almost like letting them do their thing. I think too, that comfort level, when you have that conversation with them before, it's like talking to a friend. You're asking them about a family member, so they become comfortable with you. And like you said, they almost forget that the camera is there, which for you is exactly what you want.
Exactly. It kind of blends into the background. And I get belly rubs a lot of the time, free belly rubs, so I can't ever complain about that.
I mean, that's not a day of work, right? I mean, that's just amazing. I know recently, because again, cats are a little bit different. They're either, going to be okay with posing even on a beach, but I know recently, and if you go to follow Mark, he's a brilliant writer as well. So when he makes a post, whether it's about an animal that he shot or an animal that he shot and now unfortunately passed away, it's just his writing is brilliant, and he gives you the full story and how he's feeling, which I love. And this was a cat recently that you helped, Mark, too.
Yeah, so this is Odin. This is actually Guinevere's litter mate. He came from France with Guinevere, and they grew up together. And Guinevere unfortunately passed recently, and Odin has started to slow down. He's 15. He's getting up there in years, and his mom, Frau, reached out to me and asked if I would want to meet them, and they drove up here from Corpus Christi and brought Odin with them. So I got to meet him, and it was kind of a full circle moment after photographing Guinevere last year.
Yeah, and I would like to talk about the Guinevere shoot, because, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to rip anybody else, but the first set of photos that we got were like photoshopped, and the backgrounds were fake, and so I was desperate. This had to hit, because this was our only cat in the calendar, and I knew how important these shots were. And then this is what I get in my email. I was like, how am I going to pick which shot I'm using? But tell me about this shoot, because it's not easy to, even if the animal is ill, it's not easy to have a cat on a beach in August.
We did not think it was going to work out as easily as it was. Frauke had said that Guinevere wasn't a huge fan of water, and so kind of met with them, and we sat along the levee there on the beach, and got to pet her, and she got a little bit comfortable, and she started to get brave, and she walked right out in that tide, and I was like, well, here we go. She kind of made that decision for me.
Yeah, and then I just love, again, looking at this. This is the one that I just had there. This was my second favorite. I just love this. The thing was, once you added these decorations, I was like, that kind of made our decision easy. It was just perfect. But how did you come up with this idea of kind of the sleigh and then the ornaments?
So I'll be honest, I owe that to my mother half, Sarah. She's a decorator, and she's a Hobby Lobby and Joann's fanatic. And I told her, hey, I'm gonna go down, and I'm gonna try to photograph this cat and make it look like Christmas in Texas. And so off we went, and she was picking out stuff left and right, and she kind of put the whole scene together for me, and I captured it.
Yeah, you really did. The other thing I love about this shot is just that you can tell it's on a beach. I think that was so important for people to see. We literally put a cat on the beach just to make sure that we had this shot. And it's brilliant. It's really good. So for people, I love photography. I only use my iPhone, but it's really important. I have a pet care business. It's really important for me to have good photos of clients' pets to send them throughout the day when, I'm visiting with their pet. And it definitely, and a lot of people tell me, oh, your second job should be a photographer. You'd be so good at it. But what would you tell somebody who, maybe wants to take on photography as a hobby like you did, pick up a camera and just realize, wow, I really have this skill set. I had no idea. But what advice would you give them, to start out and just try to shoot as many things as they can?
So actually, I ran into this recently with my stepdad. He actually picked up a camera and wanted to start shooting, and was asking me this. And I told him, just take pictures. As silly and simple as that sounds, I told him, go around the house and photograph everything and anything you find, and see how it looks, see how you want it to look. Play with different lighting. Everybody, well, most folks, they love having photos. And it's not hard to find people to practice with and to sit with. And even if you're your own pets, you can take your own pets and photograph them. And that's kind of what I did with my parents' animals first, was taking pictures of them running around the backyard. and just shooting everything, and you can do it. It just takes some motivation, and you got to stick with it. A lot of people get to get a little down in the beginning because it is a hard game, and the critics out there can be pretty tough, but sticking with it is so important, because those skills will develop naturally as someone goes on with photography.
This day and age, when we look at social media and how many photo shoots the younger generations are having, you got to like keep up with the Joneses as far as like having good high quality photos. It is a thing, like people. And I think too, we talk about this a lot on this podcast, is just these younger generations and how much they care about their animals, and that they're buying houses so that they can have a yard for their animals. And like these, when you get custom photos or custom gifts that include your pet, that business is going up, like anything custom or unique or photo driven is the market is hot for that now. So thank you, Mark, for everything that you've done for Live Like Rue. I know every time I get somebody in Texas that needs help, I'm like, is that near Mark? Texas is a huge state, and I will message our board member and say, Brandy, is this anywhere near Mark? Because I need to use him. And I know that you're so willing to travel, and I appreciate that. But thank you so much for all you do for us. It means a lot.
I appreciate the opportunity. You guys are so awesome to work with, and it's it's such an awesome program and foundation that you guys have, and you guys do so much for the community, and I absolutely love that. And even just to be a part of that, and just to wear the Live Like Rue t-shirt that I have, it makes people stop and ask, and just telling them, seeing how happy people get knowing that foundations like that are out there. It means a lot.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, we can only do this because of people like you. So thank you for donating your time. Again, I do want to note one thing. One thing I learned, unfortunately, my brother passed away, but he was an artist. And the art community is so important, and we have to support them. So do not take advantage of these people. It is really important to give back to artists and not take advantage of photographers. And we, as an organization, Live Like Rue, we really believe in that. We know that there are times when people want to give back, and they can give back. But my goal is always to make sure that we cover their expenses, their gas, equipment, editing time. So really, really important. This was a lesson that took me a while to learn. I always felt like, and me also being a creative person in crafts as editing and stuff, people often will ask me to help edit. But it is so important to support artists and not take advantage of their time and their efforts, because just if you look at Mark's photos, you can tell how much editing went into those, and he cares so much. So, as much as we appreciate people donating their time, we also want to make sure that they are paid for their time and their effort. So there's my TED Talk for today, Mark. But again, thank you for everything. You really are amazing, and we're lucky to have you as part of our team.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And again, I appreciate you having me on and giving me the opportunity to kind of share that story and just share my love for what you guys do and what you guys have allowed me the opportunity to help out with.
Yes. Awesome. Everybody go follow him, Facebook, Instagram, Mark Luther Photos. Just incredible work he does. We see a lot of photos, and Mark is always willing to help out, but just his everyday photos are amazing too. Thank you so much, Mark. Everybody, Mark Luther Photos, go follow him. Lucky to have him on as a guest, and I can't wait to work with him in the future. Supporting sponsors, you're up.
Thank you to our supporting sponsors. On the corner of Montrose and Troy in Chicago's Irving Park neighborhood, you'll find a hidden gem known as Templestowe Pub. They have a great selection of local draft beers, and the Malort is always flowing. Oh no. Join us for a charity bingo event or a tap takeover with a local brewery. Don't want to leave your dog at home? All good, bring them along. Whether you're throwing darts or playing a banger on the jukebox, you're guaranteed to have an awesome time. So head on over to 3135 West Montrose and look for the old style sign. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. Give the gift of pain relief to your furry friends. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thecaninept.com. Intuitive animal behavior dog training, positive reinforcement, force-free and fear-free training solutions for every dog. Jenna offers individualized training, behavioral boarding, shelter support, and positive reinforcement board and train services. Creating an environment that is happy and healthy for your pets is so important. For more information, go to intuitiveanimalbehavior.com.
Thank you, supporting sponsors. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Thank you, Mark Luther Photos. We love you. See you guys next time.